Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. This is our third installment of Main Image Monthly. We have our esteemed panel here. We've got Matt from ProductPinion, and now joining the show, we've got Peter for Intellivy, and of course, Mahon, overseeing proceedings as the 8-figure seller. He's been on before numerous times now. He's on, I think it's about show number 4 or 5. But as we do, we like to run tests, come from different angles, to encourage you as a community to go constantly testing, right? Because margins going down, etc., etc. So I bring in people that should be fighting on the battlefield with each other, but instead they come together as a community. They've got their tools, they're paying out their own pocket. We're using some of our tools at Databro as well. And then obviously Sim's overseeing proceedings. So starting with you, Peter, welcome to the show. Do you want to give an introduction to yourself? We've had Mel's on before. Can you turn your mic on? You've got no audio. I'll come back to you, Peter.
No, I'm here.
Oh, he's back. He's here.
No.
He's here. It's good.
No, it's all good. That's just, to make everybody excited for starting me speaking. So no, I'm from Intellivy. So, but maybe a little bit more background. I'm in sales over 25 years. 2008 started in e-commerce. Then 2014 started as an Amazon seller. We still have an Amazon, so we still have that. We have several brands, and then 2016 we started developing the tool Intellivy as we know of today, and it's a consumer insights platform, and we help many Amazon and e-commerce sellers to understand what generates clicks and conversion, etc.
Yeah, excellent. Matthew.
Yeah, my name's Matt. So been on here a few times, but been selling on Amazon for 10 plus years. Do a lot of, and a lot of the success of the products that I've developed and brands have created had come from consumer research. I've been involved with a lot of Kickstarter projects where you basically build the product in front of an audience. And I wanted to bring that to Amazon sellers. So that's where ProductPinion came into play, where we do the similar thing where we do consumer insights for Amazon sellers so you can make better decisions and ultimately make more money.
Excellent. Sim, everyone knows you now. You've been on a number of times as well. You always pick the products, and you chose one of my good friends and clients. Do you want to tell what we're covering on the show today?
Yeah, so today we're covering a product called SnoozeShade, who the founder is Cara Sayer, who some might know from speaking multiple times at seller sessions and other events. I mean, she's such a great character. It was a real pleasure to meet her properly at an event in Scotland. And as I was talking to her over lunch, message popped up from Danny on my phone, on my watch, and said, "What's the ASIN for the next one?" And just leant over to Cara. I said, "Would you be interested?" Because, yes, she's. I think. I mean, you're right for me to introduce the idea.
Oh yeah, no, yeah? That's what I mean. Cool. That's what I'm asking you. You come. What we do is you go right. We're going to do this month, and then we go off and use our tools, etc. So explain the concept, and what we're doing, why, etc. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I think Cara has smashed it. Like, she pretty much created the niche, if you like, and she's been doing it a long time. So she's got incredible reviews, massive brand presence. Multiple awards, certificates, everything that you want from a brand of this age. She is sort of the topical authority, if you like, on this niche. Now, I think essentially with some of these brands that are massive on socials and have this sort of brand trust, Amazon almost becomes a checkout for some of these brands. And I'm not saying for one second that this is all Cara's doing, but I think she could win on Amazon as well, and I feel like I was sort of talking with her at the event, but if she maybe branded the images more, especially like the main image, get a bit more branding, get the certificates in there, get those awards that she's won in there, then she could completely transform this, and it makes her stand out as a lot of Chinese competition is now entered into this niche, and essentially she needs to set herself apart. The good news for this particular niche, one is that it's not the strictest, and by that you can mess around with the main images. Some niches, say shoes, for example, you can't do anything. You've got literally this picture of a shoe and that's it, and they won't let you do anything naughty. But in this one, you can definitely play around with some stuff. And in her own admission, there are the photo shoot that was done for this product is older, and all the secondary images were done by herself in Canva. So it's absolute
I'll
prime
cover
candidate.
that because I'm going to break that right down in a bit. So I'm glad that you brought that to the attention because it'll go in.
Yeah, so I think it's an absolute like prime candidate for this podcast, and I think she could. I honestly think the changes that hopefully we can suggest today, or you know, a bit of inspiration for her to come up in the future. She could massively transform her presence on Amazon as well.
Yeah. Well, look, I tell you what, I'm going to kick things off because although I've done a pre-test on our pairwise system, we've had a load of updates and Ellis hasn't done the pushes. So I don't have an after test. So what I'm going to do is I want to break this down and talk through some of the tools and stuff that we've used and the steps that it went through. And then we'll do a little bit on recognition and stuff as well, because I know with Peter and Matt, they're going to have a lot more to show. So I'll just jump on with just the main image. There's no other test information, as I said, because of the pairwise system. So I'm just going to bring this up on the screen now. All right. Can you all see that?
Yep,
This is Cara's current main image as she resides in the UK. So let's talk a bit about the story. The idea is that she wants to launch in the US. Now, Cara's price point, I think, is $35 in the UK. When she takes it to the US, you're going to look at 45, 44. Now, all the keywords are looked at and the tests that we ran, a lot of the price points over in the US is between $9 up to about 25. So when she comes in at 45, it's going to end up being that she's going to have to do some work. The reason being, as I've got access to all of her data, she gets so much brand search in the UK, right? But she doesn't have that US brand recognition. Okay. So there's going to be some work to be done, like what you're saying. So this is the original image. So what we did is we just took the top one just to play around with for now, right? So there's 3 parts in this image. You see, we take this one. You're talking about quality, right? This is the original. This is the upsampled version. Can you see the difference between the work that had needed to be done? So you see all the depth and the texture in there. It's quite astounding because it can, not that it looks dull, it sells very well. Do you see what I mean? But these minor details can go a long way, especially if you're trying to sell a product that is at a higher price point. Yeah. So there's got to be means and ways to get that information over. Now, before I go any further, Sim, we talked privately about it. Cara's got loads of safety qualifications, including being an ambassador for one of them, but there isn't actually a fixed safety certificate, but she's got a shit ton of them. Then you've got the awards and stuff. So I know you guys are going to come with all the call outs. I'm just giving you a difference, my slant, looking at a US market and thinking about it being a bit more expensive, right? So you can see the difference between that straight away from the upsampling. You can use Picasso. There's other software out there that you can use, but you won't get a lot of the stuff I'm going to show you done just in Canva. You're going to get that across various different tools, including Photoshop and people with, reasonably different good skills. Now, this didn't work out. What we're trying to achieve, if you've ever gone into an office, you see what's called an infinity wall. So this is normally like a high gloss resin. You find them in sports centers. So there's no corners, but we couldn't pull off the effect that we were trying to do the backdrop. We added a tag on there, managed to get the keyword in there. And then obviously it's got the 50 plus UV protection. I think Cara mentioned a couple of times, some are higher than lower. We can easily go and rework that. So we stripped it back to white again. And then this time, as you can see, we changed the buggy. Notice that? So we use Picasso here. We were sampling different buggies because I've just thrown the background on there so you can see the difference between the two. Just subtle, okay? But the idea is and again, I can run these through Cara because it's probably better to come from a woman with a child, right? To let them know, than to give you feedback. No, this buggy, and get a little bit more guidance when you've got a guy working on it and the designer is also a guy. So we took one of our other assets, obviously action shot showing a different variation. Now the girl here is wearing a white t-shirt. So again, we run it through AI, change the top. We played around different faces, different heads. That didn't go particularly well. I won't show you the pictures of those. And then again, Sim, we was asking, is there any packaging? Is there any accessories and stuff like that? So again, we've had to upsample this to increase the resolution as well and do some retouch work. And then we brought it in down here. Played around with a little bit of the reflections. You can see there with the coming down off the front wheel here and the reflection on here. And then we'd finished it off here and here. Now we were playing around with different ideas. Do we put logos in there, etc., etc.? And we started to run out a slight bit of time. This should be pulled down. That shouldn't be cut off. It should be shrunk in a bit more. But there's still much more that we want to achieve with that. But I didn't bother doing call outs and logos because I thought you two guys, if you're doing images, that you're going to add them. So I've come from the angle of, imagine you're in the US, you're a mum between say 25, 35, you've got a bit of money to spend. You see it's more expensive. So I tried to step off to get more of the gimmicky end, right? Now, there was another idea I played around with because there is no packaging. And everyone uses swing tags. Now, I went through iPad, iPhone boxes and stuff. When you unpack a product, sometimes they have a sticker, a transparent sticker. So I was playing around with ideas, but the problem is, like, you could put on here 50 UV. That has a sticker on there from the actual, the buggy itself, right? But we were playing around with different ideas. So another thing that you can try as an idea, and it's going to be product dependent, is stickers, because you can get away with that. You know, like sometimes they're instructional. Sometimes you could maybe have your keywords on the sticker. Do you see what I mean? But it depends on what the product is. It's another way of adding to say packaging is to use a clear sticker if you can pull it off. Now, I said to Alex, look, let's pretend we're on Fiverr. I'm going to send you over a brief, okay? And we thought, what I'll do is we'll look at this image here and see if we can play around with this image and get some ideas. So I sent Alex the brief, and he sent me back this. So the idea behind it is don't go on fucking Fiverr for main images, especially if it's a half decent product. So we're having just a bit of fun there. Now, interestingly, what came out here, so took it into recognition and we run it through the text recognition here. You can see stroller, sunshade, baby stroller cover is the keyword that's used. But what didn't happen, because we'd used an image and manipulated the image, that's the sun with UV, it didn't pick up the UV. So ideally, we want to switch that out and change that around. Now, another interesting factor here, as we go into here, it's a fucking lawnmower. So there's a lot of work to be done in S3 and stuff. We'll make some changes. If you see here, 98% accessories, male, boy, what we want to see in there is a buggy, stroller, etc., etc. But if you come down, you can still see it's got baby at 90. A lot of these confidence scores are quite high. So they're going to need to be manipulated by recreating like the labels or using S3 and then being able to tag those in there and then add your metadata. So for instance, you could have tags. So for your properties, you could be key product value is a stroller, key category value is baby gear, and key description value is SnoozeShade plus stroller. But if you haven't got any technical skills, another thing that you can do is, of course, you can play around with image. So what I've done, if remember the first image shows 3 different in there, it still shows as lawnmower, but look, stroller straight at the top. Then, of course, you can relabel the file name. That isn't as strong. But we'll go back and forth and have a play around with that, because that can always go back. If we go back to this one here, and then we take it back to the very beginning. Let's go back to here. So obviously we use this one in the background. We use this here, and obviously we manipulate the person here using Picasso. But if we'd use this, we're going to get a different picture. So sometimes it's going to come down to the fact that it's the image you're using now, you use it. Now, why do I say this? Because a lot of people put their accessories, okay, because they think it's good value, and most time it is in their products. But then obviously the labeling that comes back in terms of picking up the object in detection ends up sending your labels all over the place. So if you've got technical skills, you can use S3, and then obviously there's playing around with different angles, etc., etc. And that is all I've got today. So I'd like to stop sharing. Any feedback on that sim? As I said, I've kept it very understated, and there was a reason, because I knew you guys will go all hard and come up with all the call outs and stuff.
Yeah, so I've got two sort of wacky ideas, but I think it's worth. Well, one is I'm going to drop a link in the chat here, Danny. I don't know if you can share this. This is okay. This is going off on a bit of a tangent. This is an aggressive way of doing this, right? So this is a US supplements product.
Hold on, send me. Have you sent it over in the chat?
In the private chat, yeah.
Yeah, what I've got is come up is just another buggy stroller.
Oh, my bad, wrong one. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah,
but that one's actually quite interesting as well, because I think they have done a decent job in the US. But sorry, I've sent another link now. Try that one.
All right, let me come off of this, and then I'll bring that up onto the other screen.
Now, the reason I'm suggesting this, and this is again aggressive, and I think we'll get away with it in this niche, but there's so many things that this product has that needs to be called out. So we've mentioned before, it's the safest on the market, the UV protection, the breathability of the fabric, and it's also won awards. It's got certificates that others don't have. Like Cara's even said that the competition is technically not compliant. Something like this, where you have, imagine this, right? You had all those call outs on a fake box on the right, and the stroller is on the left. Now, I know it's not going to make any sense in terms of perspective, but if you had it, you could make every single call out that you wanted to there, ultra branded, ultra clear, exactly why this one's better. And then you've got the stroller sort of depicting it on the left. Again, it doesn't make any sense in terms of perspective. It's going to make the stroller look very small and strange. But I think it definitely achieves branding, and why this one is the best. And I think you will get away with it in this niche.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, this is definitely down the more gimmicky end. The other one that I shared with you, Danny, in the chat is I think they're the US bestseller. Yeah, they are. Yeah. So actually a British brand, the US bestseller. They've done a pretty decent job of sort of mimicking a little bit what Cara's done in terms of showing the different uses and the ways it can help the baby, a little bit like Cara's main images now, but it's just a bit more branded. And even if she went that route, just a little bit more in terms of the branding, I think that will help.
So let's have a look at this. The baby killing inside. Cara's got a shot like that in a catalogue as well, hasn't she?
I also like the colours. So we use internally for our company, we use orange Pantone 158 if you're interested. So black and orange go really well together, and we use that over multiple brands. For those that I didn't actually show the branding on the last one for the silicone food bags, but we're going down the same route for that. So it just so happens that this one is pretty much the exact same thing. But the other thing I was thinking for the SnoozeShade redesign was to have, I know you sort of sat it on an artificial grass, but you could sit it in one of those circles that I mentioned. That
was the piss take, by the way. That wasn't serious.
No. No, but if you sat that stroller, as we're calling it now, if you sat that on an orange circle, then with the SnoozeShade branding going around the contours of the circle, that again will make it very colourful and show the branding as well. I like the idea of that. I think that's sort of it's gimmicky, but a little more subtle than the massive box idea. But I do think the box would achieve everything that we want to. It's just it doesn't make any sense visually. But I think that could be quite an out there way to test.
The problem is like what when you put stuff in there, there's one thing to have props, and then another thing for someone to feel that they're going to get a box and then they don't, or they've got something that they think is with the product, which could then lead to negative reviews. So you're right, there's an edge to push, right? Even if we go back to our favorite kitchen brand, Zule, you know, that is the real box, I imagine. Sure, it hasn't got the keyword and doesn't say certain things on the side.
It
You
doesn't
get
have
away
the bow
with
on
it.
top.
Yeah, it doesn't have the bow on top, right? So people,
Yeah.
it's not subjective, but it depends on what it is, right? What you're adding to it. If it's completely a fake box and then someone complains, then you're going to start to run into some problems. It depends on your tolerance for risk. Do you see what I mean? But yeah, what other ideas?
Packaging may vary, Dan, in the 5th bullet point. Packaging
Exactly,
may vary
yeah,
in a packet.
exactly,
It's all good.
exactly.
Also, you could
Yeah.
put an insert that is almost the box and put that in the bag, or just, you know, next batch has the box. Then we're done. It's just a short-term problem then.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, look, let me just call up Cara's UK listing. It's worth having a look and just showing people how much can be done with the awards and stuff. We were a bit pushed for time, but there's so much that can be done with a bit of thinking behind it. Let me share the screen. I mean, we go
I had
down
some fun with the awards too.
Look.
Yeah.
Over 80 awards. Smart lady. Out of control, but a smart lady. I'll get a slap for that. So this is her current listing at the moment, obviously showing what buggies it fits, which is universal. But yeah, like, it's how do we get this across and get this through? It's going to be a through series of testing, but you know, if you want to run Amazon experiments and things like that, you've got to weigh off those as well. But yeah, I mean, there's so much that Cara can do. She's what she does. She's an impressive lady, right? It goes back to, you know, you could be good at ranking, you could know a lot about A9, but she's a product person. Do you see what I mean? She's an inventor, and whilst she could improve on that side, she's done really well because of her product skills, and that's carried her through a number of years. It's like you, Tim, your company, you took over from your father, right? So there's a skill that's been built over a period of time. This is why you've been in. When did your father start the business?
That was sorry, that was also for me saying.
Peter, you just knocked your mic off again there. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, in the 70s, he started like a mail order business, and then 2008, I think, was the first Amazon ASIN. So yeah, we've been doing it a while.
Yeah. Cara says, can't wait for this on a school run. We'll try and jump on later, so I'll send her the link and we can have a chat with her. And I'm not a graphic designer. And could you make the stroller itself orange? We'll have a little chat about that. We'll see what we can do. Anything better than using Figma. All right, Peter, as the new guy on the show, let's see what you got. Let's blow some brains out.
Yeah,
in a nice way in terms of content. So
yeah. So yeah, well, you already surprised me with all the presentation you did. So it's pretty amazing what you showed. Your process that I used is slightly different. So I took a few days, not that much, like even like a few hours instead, to be honest. And I did some polls. So let's see. I can present, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Just all you got to do is bring up the.
Yeah. So there we go.
Just put it down and share at the bottom. If there's slides, you can upload them, or you can just share screen.
Yeah, I will do share screen. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So share screen, and then. I have to do something. No, that's good. So there we go. There we go.
All right,
so can you see it? Is it working?
Yeah. Do you want to expand it so it's 200% so that everyone watching can see it?
So I just started by creating a document, and I start with the UK listing because that's what we were started with, and I got a list of competitors. Normally, I would do more research on that, so I would use tools like Data Dive, for instance, and just check out like, okay, what's really going on in the category, because I want to know the context. Like, if people do a search, what is it that they see? But this is what I got now. So, and I ran a purchase barrier poll now. So let me go to that first poll. That's so let's follow this link. And the purchase barrier poll. So first of all, if we run a poll, we always start with situation insights. The situation insights, it's also written down in this document here. So you see here, like the situation is, imagine yourself planning a day out with your baby at the park. You realize it's sunny and you need something to protect your little one from the sun's rays. It's time to buy a stroller sunshade cover. That's also here. So here you see it's time to buy a stroller sunshade. So at a certain point when we were in the conversation on Messenger, we spoke about it's rather a stroller sunshade instead of a cover. So I changed that. So here you see the stroller sunshade. Now in those situation insights, the thing is that the 70 respondents don't see the product yet. So they start with the situation and we ask them, what are the most important product features you would look for? So and now you see here that I did segmented. So it's children, age and gender, with a boy under age 1 and girl under age 1 up until the age of 4. And with these insights, so I can go here down that you can see, but it's not just the presentation of the tool. It's all about the product right now. That's what I'm gonna talk about. But here you see the situation insights, but I have it here, like this is the summary of what I got from the polls. And reason is just like, you have to see like this. If someone is entering the marketplace, you have two type of shoppers, and you already said it, like in the UK, it's you have some branded traffic. So branded traffic is, well, you can see it like as a need-based shopper. So people do know what they want, but you also have consumers who are more like information gatherers. So they use Amazon as kind of like figuring out what is it that they want. So before you know it, you are generating a click, but then it's part of the journey and they go back and they kind of make up their mind like, okay, this is really what is important to me. Now, this is what I discovered, that sun protection is the primary concern. Of course it is. But then the compatibility matters. So universal, that's very important. You see it also here, ease of use and the versatility. Then concerns about cost, of course, but quality and durability. And what I also stood out to me was like the baby safety. And I read those responses that many people had concerns about, so like the breathability. Like, does it not completely block the baby? Is it all okay? Is it still nice to be there? So, and that comes also to the aesthetics and design. But this is a purchase barrier poll. So this is a DRAB study. We call it like that. That means the dumb reason that avoid buying. So we ask people based on the image and title. Here you see it. What would be a reason not to buy a stroller sunshade? Now the responses are down here. So each individual is giving feedback like this would be my reason not to buy it. But then AI generates a summary. And then you see here that fit and compatibility is a concern. So I didn't get to the point to really optimize anything and to show like, okay, now I would get to the next step. I would love to do that, but this is what I discovered so far. I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
So you see here that fit and compatibility. So it has to be universal. And then you see also instructions for the designer. So you can really follow each step and think about it like, okay, am I fixing this? And when I speak about am I fixing it? So same is for ventilation and overheating. In my opinion, based on the knowledge that we have, you cannot fix everything in the main image. So the only thing is that you have your image and you have your title, use it. But then when you go to the listing itself, so here's the listing. Now here it is. Somehow you have to encounter the objections that people have.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, and of course it does make sense probably, but here is saying ventilation and overheating. Then here's also a recommendation that you can consider to do in your images. But more importantly, I see in this listing here, optimal airflow. Now, is this enough? So is optimal airflow enough to convince a buyer like, oh yeah, that's it. So now it's okay. And then here you see it opened up, but that's not the purpose. You rather want to have it closed. Or is it important to show that you can communicate with your child? So those kind of questions, we try to address that within our pool insights. Any questions so far, by the way?
No. Keep going.
So now, then I go on. So you have the visibility and interaction. You see that, by the way, I just spoke about it. So this is definitely something that people have doubts about. So altogether, and safety concerns, you see it as well. Altogether, the DRAB study. So what you see here, let's collapse it again. Then you see it more close to each other here. So this top 10, it's very helpful to determine like what is needed that needs to be fixed in the listing itself. So this is all about conversion. Of course, it's also addressing a part of the click, but it's also conversion. A lot is conversion. So that's my number one that I did. Then second, I went to a marketplace poll. Now you already brought it up that the price of the stroller is high. Because of that, I kept the price out of it. So we can do that in our poll setup. We can choose to hide the price, so we can blur that. And I just did that because I felt like I just want to know, based on the presentation itself, how does it perform? So again, it starts with situation insights, 90 respondents. I use segmentation again. So we are really speaking to mothers who has children in the age of 1 to 4. And they responded to these 3 options. And then you see that it's slightly winning. So it's not that much. Even it's not the highest confidence level. So I might even consider to do some extra votes. On the other hand, based on the insights, I felt like I already know enough to pinpoint further direction. And what I did, by the way, is I also changed the title a bit. And this is one of the things that I like to mention. It's not just the main image. You have to use the title as well. And I wrote it down here that as a note, like for instance, here you see important title elements. Universal is a very important title element. Universal is not coming across from the image itself. You can, of course, and I think you have very creative thoughts about it, that you can do it, but you have to use the title as well. So that's why we always recommend to test image and title, because if you speak about click, it's not just the image. And the same applies for breathable. And I love that image that you showed, because that image was bigger, and then you used the top right image. So then you see the mesh. I would love to test that. Like really, I would love that. We just want to know, like, and that's, by the way, also something that I recommend. Let's say that my hypothesis is mesh is important. People want to see that. So they want to see the material, that they communicate and can see the baby, and that's also breathable and safe. If I test it again, and let's say I'm winning, let's 42%, then still I would go to the poll insights and type in, for instance, mesh. And why? I want to see how many times is mesh really coming across, and did it increase or not? So did my change had effect or not? Because you need to know, you need to find the theme. If you're building a listing, you need to get a deeper understanding of, like, how is it that people entering the marketplace when they search? What is it that grabs the attention? And what is it that in the next step is really driving the sale? Now, then I had UV protection. Now, of course, that's important. Now, then I was thinking about a badge as well. I haven't done it yet, but I thought, like, yes, I would definitely do something with a badge about UV protection. But also, and you mentioned that, would it matter to show the IMPA badge? So I saw the IMPA badge, and I have that IMPA here. So that's like, I thought it's a very interesting thing around infant safety and product quality in Australia. Then I was doubting, by the way, like if you mention quality or safety quality in Australia, I know for US consumers, when you can use a flag like made in USA, it's always a very strong element. So I'm not sure. So again, that's something that I would like to test. And then here you see the mesh again. So overall, these are the insights that I got from the polls I did. And by the way, I'm saying it all very quickly, but here you see an AI summary, and you can also see that overall the product itself is already doing a very good job. However, there are still, so, and this is nicely aligned with the objection poll, with the purchase barrier poll, although there were some concerns about style, potential heat buildup. So you can see that the heat buildup is a concern. And then, of course, the price. So I'm still interested in the fact, like, what would it do if you also show the price? Because the other competitor is $9.99. So yeah, if you come up with 42 and then $9.99, it's already shifting everything. So I think you also need kind of like branded video, or really think about some scroll stopping elements. So yeah, that's it.
Cool. I have done a shit ton more that I haven't showed, but if we get time, I'll show you a load of the other stuff that I've done, including the first test. Because we're having the platform updated, he hasn't pushed it. That's where I really pick things up. We only run 50, but straight away in our pairwise system, she was being crushed by everyone. And mainly it's on price. I'll show you in a bit later.
Yeah,
so that's where it led me with that. I wanted to do, only because we've been finishing up the image today, like last few hours, and getting them together in a deck. Otherwise, if I had 2 more days, I would have had the after effects as well. But it was just, we're pushed for time. But they're just all fucking excuses. So, Matt, you're up.
All right. Yeah. Let's get going. Okay. So I think I'm my slides.
Hold on. Sorry. Sim, feedback on Peter's stuff.
Yeah, I think it sort of ties up with what I said before in terms of trying to showcase the features of the product, and the customers basically are alluding to that there as well. Potential customers. But yeah, I think the fact she won on creative there is actually quite interesting, because I would have assumed that she wouldn't have, if I'm being honest.
That's why testing needs to be done.
Yeah. So I was surprised to see that, and I think that's interesting. It's also interesting that obviously once you include price, she didn't. But I think, basically, I do think the main image needs work, and she knows that, and that's why we're here. So we're giving really good direction in many
Peter
ways.
straight away, like, he knew as soon as he put that price in there what will happen before this. Yeah. So he kept the price.
I knew that. Yeah.
So I think if we'd run one with price, one other, it comes back to that point: is how do you raise that price when in the UK, Cara's killing it, all branded searches? You see what I mean? How do we get her to the next level in the US? Is a main
I like to say something.
We've got to see, haven't we? We're going to learn.
I'm glad I'll show you guys. I actually took a different approach and actually kept the price in there for the cheaper.
Oh, that's interesting.
Good.
Yeah. So
because I like to say one thing about it. So what I mentioned is, like, for instance, let's say that mesh, or let's say that a badge, or let's say that the versatility of everything, or let's say that the fitment, that's all important. Then if I would test it again with price, and let's say it's not winning, then still I would check on those elements. I really would check on, like, is it generating the attention based on the things that I brought into the image and brought into the tile, because that's important. It's not always winning. It's not a design contest. If you do tests like that, that's not it.
No, it's countering the click, though. So you're still going to get the click, but it could be wasted. You could have a great main image, and then the product's not sold across, and that's the that's it. The balance. Yeah. Cara's going to join in a minute. Matt, quick, get your slides up.
They're up.
All right, let's do this. All right. Here we go.
All right. So so what we like to do first of all is do some qualitative testing. So basically do pinion videos, which is just watching people shop, see what they say, because you really get some context out of it. And you can basically ask questions as people think out loud, they answer them and are browsing. Typically what we do is actually do a search results page. So you can actually put up a link that has all of the top sellers. You can do it for your own listing as well. But in this case, we actually have a newish feature where you can actually mock up a search result page and actually pick the specific ASINs that you want people to look as if they did a search on Amazon. So in this case, we grabbed all the ones that Cara said were competitors. We also, I think I added a few that were in the US as well. And when you're mocking this up, you have full control of everything. So I was able to go in there, for example, and I think I put the SnoozeShade at $39.99 US. Might be a little bit higher once it's brought over, but just as a base point, we put that in there. And it was one of the most expensive ones. Then we you put up your hypothesis. So which stroller shades are people most interested in? We have our questions that they ask. We hit launch. We're good to go. And we were able to also pick a very similar audience where I actually picked on purpose women. It's my hypothesis that it's mainly women going to be purchasing these. And then I did also pick that, if they had kids, I put 3 and under, basically boys and girls, 3 and under for the stroller. I don't think I took my son or daughter. Once it became 4, I don't think they would want to go in the stroller anymore. They would complain too much, but that was just me. So for our situation, you're shopping for on Amazon for a sunshade for your stroller. And I have the video that we can play. I kind of condensed it down to 3 minutes, sped it up. Danny, I think you might just have to like switch the feed for the video to play there.
I don't like this one because it looks floppy and messy. I don't think that opening would be easy to get a baby out of, frankly. And I have a kid that's a toddler, so she's in the stroller a lot. I like the zip on this one. That's nice. I don't have a tiny infant, but man, the zipper on that looks very short. I like that there's an image of the parent with the kid, although it's not helpful in deciding which one of these to use. It does catch your eye, and it does really make that image stand out over some of the other ones that I'm looking at here. So I think that image right here stands out to me more than the other 6 here. I do see that there is one down here, but the vantage point that they took the shot from is unsettling, frankly. The overhead, I can't really tell what's going on. I think that's the stroller wheel sticking out.
Some of them are just so dark. I know they're breathable, they're just so dark. It looks like you're carrying a corpse. Maybe a different color might be better.
Carrying a corpse.
Because, I don't like the fact that it's all black.
The only thing that concerns me with some of these, like the sunshade for strollers, they're all sunshades, but does it get too hot in there for that baby? Because you can imagine something being closed up all the time like that.
I think I would be most likely to click into the stroller sunshade cover mosquito net. I like that it's not completely covered up. I like that it seems like it has more breathability. Like if I would be taking a baby outside on a walk, I would want the baby to be able to see the world.
I don't like the ones that are fully netted like that. I just feel like you don't have quick access to your baby. If they start crying or something happens, they scratch themselves or something. And honestly, magnets around babies always scare me. What if it gets older or the sun damage and the magnet breaks and it ends up in the baby's seat and then they unfortunately eat it or something? It could become I'm super cautious when it comes to this. And my brain always goes to all the issues or problems that could happen. And that magnets would make me nervous.
The one that stands out to me the most is not the one I had picked. It would be the turquoise stroller shade sun cover mosquito net. For this I really like the idea of a mosquito net.
So that's very concerning. But being the fact that it's all open, the only thing, it's nice to have ones that are like rainproof and stuff so that when you go out there, your baby doesn't get wet from the rain. But I'm not sure if these work for that. But again, is it breathable? I think it's got like a shade right there, which is nice because if you unzip that, you'd have a lot of breathable feels. It says infant car seats medium. I don't really know what that means, but it does also look like it's just a pretty basic sunshade for a car seat. This one does look like it's got a little case right here. That's cool and convenient because once you're done with it, you just take it off, fold it together, pop it in there. It does look like it would be pretty hot though. It's blackout, which is definitely going to keep the sun away, but super hot. It stops 99% of the sun. But does it feel like a sauna in there? That just seems scary. If I was buying one of these, I would keep testing my baby's temperature just to make sure.
Well, to be honest, I have this green stroller sunshade cover mosquito net for stroller, shade extender with magnetic tabs. I like that there's so much mesh around it. It just seems like it would be really cool for the baby or the child using it and it wouldn't get too hot.
I would most likely click on the third item at the top, the stroller sunshade cover mosquito net stroller for $31.99 out of all of them. All of them look pretty great, but I like this one the best because it has the sunshade cover and a mosquito net over it.
This particular one with the Orsbo stroller sunshade, it's got a really big zip opening, which would make it easy for me to have it open so that my child could see out. It'd be easy for me to access it because you want to check on your kids often when they're in the stroller. I know these things have to have a universal fit on strollers, but that just looks sloppy and weird, and like it would be really hard to use and like it's unpleasant. So I think that fit is really important, and the zipper opening is really important for me both.
And I don't know, I would want to sit in that stroller and see how hot I got before I put my baby in there. But I think the one that I like the best, and it's also probably because it has a little bit of color, is the stroller sunshade cover mosquito net for stroller shade extender with magnetic tabs with a bug net.
Just from first glance, I like this one because it has a mosquito net, a shade extender with magnetic tabs, and it blocks 70% of UV rays. That's really awesome. And my baby can still see through it.
Okay, I love that. Like, tell me how you really feel, right? Like, some people are just really intense with their opinions, and as brand owners, that's basically what we want.
And I think you can get a lot from video. There's so much there, and puts people on the spot, and especially as they're doing an in-search experience, they're going past other products, talking about them, and giving you ideas of what they're seeing now. I think videos and image stacks are definitely, in terms of getting the customer objections, is gold. You know what I mean? And the problem is most people don't do customer objections. They see post-purchases objections, which are reviews. Reviews is post-purchase. And I think that's where a lot of people objections. Have we got an echo?
And I can go back into the slides just to.
Oh, you want to go back in?
Yeah. I'll go. Yeah.
Cara. Hello, Cara.
Oh, yeah, Cara.
We've all been slaving away for you. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get slapped, Danny.
I know. I'm always getting a slap.
So you guys find it weird that this market's like black in color?
Yes.
Would these not be better in white? Is there a reason?
If you do it in white, then you have to chemically treat the fabric, which is a no-no. And also the problem is, you see, unfortunately, is that the customers like that more see-through fabric. But unfortunately, that won't be giving any sun protection. And this is one of the issues. It's blocking 70% of UV rays, which is you can't even categorize that as sun protection legally.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's actually basic, like 70% is actually doesn't even count as UPF protection.
Yeah.
There are a couple of comments on the color there, by the way, adding color, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah.
That's the thing about using orange on the actual stroller itself to make it pop. Like, so utilizing that rather than the blue. Because I mean, I have used the blue because it pops, and I've got another one where it's red because that pops against the black.
So, I mean, from the video there, like one of the, like, and what I like about video too is you get context, right? So you could tell people that we're talking about like how hot it would get. It's like a sauna, it's scary, that sort of thing. Like you really got the passion through like them actually saying things out loud versus just, you know, reading text on a screen. So you could tell that breathability was pretty much in my, like just arbitrarily, you know, looking at it, breathability was a big one. Another takeaway too, easy access. I didn't even consider this as a dad. I thought, you know, just put the baby in there, you're good to go. But moms want something that's super, super easy to put the, you know, baby in, and also being able to have the baby to see out. And then, yeah, so like Sim pointed out as well too, like most people were like, hey, everything's really dark, right? And, you know, having the ones that have some color on there, like this stroller with the teal, obviously stands out. And also the mosquito netting too. Maybe that's not as big in the UK, but obviously in Canada and the US, the mosquitoes can be a big
I'm not allowed to talk about mosquito nets because I'm a British business, and unfortunately I can't take the online test, which would prevent me from being thrown off for pesticides.
And actually, as a Canadian, I used to sell a mosquito repellent bracelet way back in the day,
and you know what, that is one of the best search terms with mosquito in.
I know, that's so annoying, wasn't it, Danny?
Yeah, I sent some images. They might still be in the chat, but yeah, I said to you, look, if we're going over and you can't use that, that was the leading search term. Let me see if I can pull it up and I'll tell you quickly what it is while we're chatting. And then there is it.
Out of the videos too, we got some ideas. Like, yeah, maybe that could do different color options, but as Cara's saying, like maybe not. But maybe it means we could change the stroller color or add color somewhere else. The storage bag seems like an easy idea to put in there, and then maybe mark it as the mosquito cover, but maybe not because of the regulations. Sorry, Danny, were you going to?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, so
there's lots of Chinese sellers who are talking about. I think that seller is actually a Chinese seller, so they're not American and they haven't done the pesticide training.
Probably not. Yeah.
So mosquito net for stroller pretty much does really well all year round. I haven't got the graphics for that. I was rerunning all the searches. I'll show you some stuff in a minute. But so even when we use data dive for it, mosquito net for stroller, search volume 3,247. Then you've got stroller sunshade 1,988. Now it's the time of year, right? So this is just wherever the data has been pulled here in that period. I've got some to send it over. We don't use data dive because we do different metrics, but I'll go through some stuff in a moment with the search terms and stuff. But what I wanted to come back to, if we've got time, first we better answer. Have you finished, Matt, or is there more stuff?
I got some stuff. I'll go through really quick.
No. You finish yours first. Apologies. I thought when you passed back to me, I thought you were done.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No.
Finish your work.
We got some stuff going. Okay, cool.
Let's go.
So let's go. So based on some of the qualitative feedback, I wanted to kind of come up with some concepts. So what are some of the things that we could test out that are worth testing because it was mentioned by people, right? So what we're working with, we already know what the original is. And then when you actually look at the best sellers, and I think this was for the US, this is what we're kind of competing against. And something that was really common is that they gray out the stroller, right? So that the sunshade is actually what's popping out. So I'm thinking, well, hey, we don't have to use gray. Let's use some kind of color. So it was on the same lines of what Cara was thinking, like, hey, can we make the stroller all orange or something like that? In this case, we thought about it. It's like, well, we probably should do blue because then it's like, hey, it's cooler, right? That's what we're trying to emphasize, breathability, that it's cool. We also had the idea to do the 2-in-1 tag as well, right? To call it out because that one was getting a lot of attention. Ultimately, I didn't know if we could market it for mosquitoes, so we didn't go with that as a concept, but this idea kind of stuck.
Well, you've got sleep and sun protection as well, which is so there's a 2-in-1 there.
Cool. So we could, so potentially we could market it as that. And then when you look at it, just quick throwing it on top of the search results kind of stands out a little bit more, some color there. Like we're getting there, something cool. Okay. Concept B, we had someone else talk about like, oh, it was really nice seeing the baby and mom in the photo, right? It's cute. Everyone likes people, and that's one of our big principles. Anytime you put a person in there, you typically get more attention, more clicks. So we have a tool called the AI drawing tool. You just kind of draw over what you want to change. And then we put in the prompt, cute smiling baby in stroller. And just like that, we had a baby.
Love it.
Right? If it was only that easy to have a baby.
If only it was. I say that to all you men.
Yeah. Now, obviously, this isn't perfect. Like, we could probably get like someone who's actually good at Photoshop to make this better. But hey, you know what? We have a baby popping out of the stroller.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Cool. So
was that the first take, Matt? Because that was very good,
so
actually.
to be fair, it was not the first take, but it was within the second or third. We generate 4 images at a time, and it was the second generation that I got one like this that was actually pretty good. But I did want to show you some of the other ones that are funky.
I did one the other day that was hideous.
Yeah. So like this one was not terrible.
No.
But, like, the baby's head was it wasn't proportionate, and for some reason wearing the hat, and I'm like, well, you probably wouldn't take the baby out in the winter, right? Not much sun there, but maybe. This one was okay, but then it had 3 hoods on, and I'm like, ugh, why the hoods?
Bad safety.
Now here's the thing. I tried Photoshop just for fun because I'm like, well, hey, this is our software. We did a decent one. This is Photoshop. What is that? Right? My goodness.
It looks like a very big blue tongue.
Yeah, and then it generated the blue bib thing. Like, what is going on? And then I did it again, and then there's this one, and it's like, what is happening, Photoshop? Like, come on. But you know what? This made me laugh because it's like, hey, our software's better than Photoshop. I'll take it. Awesome. So, and then we figured, okay, let's add mom to it as well. And Cara, you already had this asset, so we figured, okay, let's just kind of like whoosh, smush them together with the power of Photoshop. It's not perfect, but again, we're not trying to be perfect here. We're just trying to be good enough for a test. And I think this worked out to be good enough for the test. Okay, concept B2. So show mom and baby, but then I want to show some award eye candy. Look at all the awards. Danny already talked about this, but I was like, holy geez, we got to like add this maybe to the main thing. And by the way, this gave me the idea, like, has anyone watching this have applied for awards? Like, maybe we should. Like, that's insane to increase, conversion on and having that slide. So kudos to doing that and having all that. That's freaking amazing. So now I figured, okay, let's stress test our AI asset creator. I've never actually generated people with it before. It's a little fun. So this took a lot more to get someone that actually looked decent, but I wanted someone basically holding an award that I could put towards beside the stroller. So this is one of the decent ones that came out. Kind of weird. She's not wearing shoes, but like, okay. And I didn't like how that she was holding that award too. So then I just drew over it again. I was like, hey, put a thumbs up instead. And then, you know what? Not bad. AI is typically pretty terrible with hands still, but it actually worked. This was acceptable, at least for a test. Like, not great, not bad, but let's figure out for a test. And then in terms of the award, like the one that was there was kind of funky. So I'm like, hey, let's make an award that kind of looks more like an award. We got some good options there. But then I was like, hey, I had a great idea. Let's make a baby trophy. So make it look like an award that like actually looks like it's for, winning a baby award. This is what it came up with. And I'm like, this is cool, but it's also creepy. I'm like, I don't know if this will fly. So like, it's kind of cool that the AI, this was like first take, came up with this. It actually did what it was supposed to do. But you know what? I also tried to do another one where it was like the bust of the baby, but it's getting into creepy territory. So this might actually get the click, maybe. I was thinking, but you know what? I was like, let's just do it. Sorry, what's that, Cara?
Give it a go. Why not?
Maybe. But to be honest, I was like, you know what? The other times we did some really quirky stuff, it usually lost. So I was like, hey, let's just do a regular award. But maybe this is something we could test later. So the final composition kind of looked like this. She's beside the store thing. She has the thing. Her hand is up, number 1, right? So it's trying to portray like, hey, we won some awards. Click, like, I want to pique that curiosity. I want people to click to be like, what's going on with these awards? So, okay, so that was that concept. And then concept C, this is the one that was, trying to be a little bit more serious with and just emphasize that the breathability and keep that fading of the stroller. So this kind of makes a lot of sense to me. You gray out the stroller so the product stands out. We still have the mom and baby there. So we have that concept in there. And then also what's really cool, and we saw the other US bestseller, you can see the baby's face through it. So you can actually see that they can breathe, right? So I feel like this was a really strong contender. And I'm, giving it away, but yes, it worked really well. So first off, though, we had 2 concepts. So remember, we had the mom and baby, and then we had mom, baby, and trophy. So what we do for concept testing, this is like a traditional kind of poll that you can do with any software, just image split test, like image versus image. So concept B versus concept B2. Can anyone guess which one won by a landslide?
The one on the left?
My left or your
What
left?
about the award?
Hold on. Without the award, you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right on the money. The award tanked to the point where I just stopped the poll and I was like, oh my God, this is really bad. And moms are very opinionated, right? So some of the things they said, they're like, I understand being proud of awards and I feel like your award should be noted somewhere, but not there. The image looks like crap. The trophy plastered makes me assume that it's garbage. Whoa, tell me how you feel, man.
We don't hold back punches, us women.
Right. But this is great. Like, this is, as a brand owner, this is the feedback you actually want. You don't want your friends and family telling you, hey, yeah, everything's great, fantastic, go launch it, go have fun. You actually want people to like literally critique your baby. And then,
Matt,
they just
Matt, so it goes back to my point, like you've actually got the data. My thought process earlier with a higher rate price and that engagement between a mum and a child, right? A mother's love. They're very specific where, they might get the ear kick, etc. Using the gimmicky stuff like the trophies and stuff, and because man or woman, it doesn't matter, because they don't have to show their face, they can really go to town with the feedback. What is this piece of shit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that goes back to my point is, where do we blend getting the click for the conversion, right? And keeping that high level price point. Because if you look at Apple products, they don't have badges. And do you understand?
Well, they don't need it. They are Apple. I'm not Apple.
No, but you're missing
Not
the point.
yet.
The point is that when you look at their stuff, they don't look like one of them shitty marketing landing pages with loads of text on. Because most people look at that who earn good money and they go, that looks like a fucking scammy site. Do you understand what I'm saying, Cara?
Yeah,
it has to be in
absolutely.
line with it. Not every technique works.
No,
Like, you've got proven techniques. This is why we have to test these things. So although that Matt's had a bit of fun and stuff in there as well, you've got to try and charge $45, say, for that product. And if you badge it up, you might other people go, who the fuck she thinks she is? 8-year-old, stick them up your ass. Do you know what I mean? You don't know what the feedback's going to be.
No, that's really useful feedback, actually, because it is one of the things people talk about is making sure you show off your awards. But actually, to be fair, I think parents really care more about whether it's breathable, whether they can see the baby. And also, as some of the comments were, they want to see a happy baby, happy mum, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. They might not like the trumpeting. In their eyes, go, oh, look at them just showing off. And it does turn people off because people got different personalities, right? So they see different things. They live through their own perception. And that's what you're going to go up against when you have stuff like that, because not everyone's built equally.
And so I think there is a distinction, though, between like a generic trophy like that, which is not really saying much at all. But if she was holding, say, UPF protection, breathable fabric, something, something like that, and then the Made for Mums award, I think, was the best one, Cara, that you said you had. Something like that.
Yeah,
that's different.
And also
put the text on the bottom of the trophy, maybe.
Yeah. And also something else. So indeed, like, how do you present it? We recommend to do, for instance, a scroll stopping image poll. So what it does, it's kind of like an impact poll. People see it 0.5 seconds or 2 seconds. And in that time span, we ask them, what did you see? So before you know it, it's drawing your eye, but you're scrolling, but it's not getting across what you want to do it. So you need to really understand, like, what is needed to generate that click. Like, is it really that trophy or should it be like that or not? Because otherwise you miss the point.
Yeah. But you know what we haven't missed the point of? Testing. No. You find out, you make adjustments.
Yeah,
and that's the whole point of the show, is to keep testing. The more testing you do, the more chance and opportunity you have to win, and you get better at it, which I'm just going to quickly bring Sai in because he sent messages earlier, and this validates the point. He says, hi guys, this is Top Level. Thank you. I have a question. The main image is so important, as we know, as we all know that. And he goes on to say, your work on this example is clearly going to move the needle. There's 4 of you experts working on one product. How do solopreneurs that are in the, they're in the logo about to go and to do this, and we can make magic. We can make magic the time to get, what did he say? Where can we make magic?
Where can we magic the time to get it? Yeah. Like, where can we make it from? Well, you can always do it.
How can we do it?
Just do it badly.
Well, look, let's take it back. So you've been watching the show from years going back to COVID, right? It's not necessarily about magic in time. It's about you work on what you feel is important, right? At the end of the day, the most important assets we have is our time and attention. Because a lot of people say money, but you need to invest a lot of your time and attention to make money a lot of times, unless you're a lottery winner. So stuff like this, we do this show taking out our own time. If we add up everyone's wages, the labor, everything, there's about 15 grand, 20 grand's worth of work, maybe a bit higher. I'm saying this because it's Prime Day and Sim's sitting there with his ass on fire because of all the shit that went on today. But he's here to help you, Sire, to do tests like this so that you can get ideas and test yourself. I understand that a design is not expensive, but you know, running I think you spend what, $200 or $300 on Intellivy and then ProductPinion. Just go and run some tests there. Matt's been developing more tools to make it easier if you're a non-designer as well. But yeah, it's about how do you make that time? Start small. Do one test a day. Even if you're just doing Amazon experiments and it's a bullet point title, whatever, you've got enough catalogs there. Don't even start with the images. Get into the idea of testing. You had to learn how to do product research. Okay. You had to learn how to do PPC. Well, you can learn how to do customer objections and get better at asking those questions to get better feedback in order to improve your work. The one cost you are going to have, really, if you want to try and take it that much further, that extra 10, 15%, it's imperative that you have a good designer.
And I can just show you the results real quick too, just from, because we actually ran these to see which would actually win. So first, for contextual testing, we do something called true search simulation where we actually show the whole stuff, right? Like the price, whatever it is, you can choose to show any of the options. And the main takeaway from that is like your click-through rate is relative. Like it doesn't matter how beautiful your image is, but you have to stand out. It can't just be pretty. It actually has to stand out. Context matters because the price, the title, it all affects what people's opinions will be when they see it. So first thing we did was just a baseline test to see where Cara's product was going to sit in it. Here we had to add the price because we didn't have the price in the US market. We could have also tested it actually in the UK. We do have UK respondents as well. So our baseline was basically 11.88% of people chose her listing with the price, with everything in there as a baseline. So it's like, hey, how do we improve this baseline by updating this main image? And what I found, I know we talked a lot about the pricing, right? And how, you know, Cara's is very expensive. But what's interesting with parents, you know, price can be an indication of quality. So this one that was $10, it actually always ranked the worst. And it kind of makes sense when you're a parent. You're like, well, hey, I'm not going to pick the worst for my baby, right? So, I mean, and then obviously there's price sensitivities and there's other data that has to go through it to make sure that, you know, we can't overprice it either. But if I was this Arsbo person, I would increase the price, like full stop, like make it $20-$30, and they'd actually have probably a much better time in this market. So then what we do is we have the baseline, we run the same test, but with the new concept. And something that we do that's unique, we can actually exclude people that took that first test because they're already biased. They already saw the data. We don't want to put them in again. So we make it fresh, brand new. And then we tested concept B, which was showing happy mom, happy baby. And we did get a lift. This time we got a 16.83% of the click share. So our clicks went up. So next, so this data basically equated to like about a 40% increase in clicks by showing baby and mom, which was cool. And next, we wanted to test concept C. So concept C was that breathability, which everyone talked about in the videos. It came out at the woodwork of the other polls, and we wanted to see how that would do. Now we just increased the click share to 20%. So this image that had the mom, the baby, has all the components. We're riding up the clicks here. So that was what it kind of looked like, 11 to 16 to 20. And some of the feedback, and someone actually mentioned, yeah, price is an indication of quality. So even though Cara's was actually one of the more expensive ones in the thing, it was still chosen. And they just mentioned that they liked that the age range was in the title. There's a lot of other qualitative feedback that you can get when you do something like this. So takeaways is basically you got almost a 70% increase in clicks with this kind of image that's answering some of those objections that were uncovered from the video polls and baseline polls. And to answer the question that came up, like how long does this take? Yeah, there's 4 of us on here, but it was basically an hour's worth of work coming up with the concepts, launching the polls, and you're off to the races. That's 82 more people come into your listing based on 1,000 impressions. Turns out I asked ChatGPT what it holds about 80 people, and they're like, "Hey, a double-decker bus." Got to put that red, badly AI generated double-decker bus on there. So,
hey Matt, and a minor thing I want to say, because you're showing like at a certain point, a few slides back, you saw the $9.99 product. So maybe you can go back to that slide. What really catch my attention, that's something that I discovered in the test that we did. So you have to go back one further. You really see the tile of the $9.99. So with the title.
This one?
No, you just showed it. I think it goes back even a bit further back.
Sorry, which one are you asking about?
So it's the $9.99 competitor product, and then with the title, we really saw I saw the complete tile, like image and title.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, this one.
Yeah,
Right?
there it is.
Yeah.
So
I actually copied my layout.
I'm saying it again. This is what I saw from the testing we did. The impact of the title is amazing. So here you see through mesh cover, breathable, and blocks UV rays. So that specific part of the title. So we can pay attention like all day to images, and we have to really have stunning images. You have to use all the space, all the pixels to use it the best way you can. But the title is definitely also part of this this decision moment.
For sure. Yeah. Title, price, anything that you see on the main page will influence the click.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I think it's very good because, well, for the people who want to do DIY, think about those things. Really take it in account.
Yeah. Yep. And another thing for Sayer, I'm going to put a challenge out to you. If Sim agrees, we'll do one of your main images next month. If Sim agrees with it, because he picks the ASIN. And if he doesn't, I'll do it. And I'll run it through my pairwise system. I'll use some of my ProductPinion credits, and I'll show you some stuff that you'll be able to do and get 70% of the way there. And I'll train you on entities, types, commercial items and stuff. We'll do an hour, and I'll show you on the condition that you go off and take this seriously. So you can message me after the show. So I'm going to stand on that, but I need you to stand on yours. Go on, Tim.
Danny, on that. So there is, if someone wants to reach out to me, there is, I think, well, firstly, take Danny up on his offer. But secondly, there is a lady on LinkedIn that we've almost used before that basically will put a hypothesis forward, test it herself, and she sort of charges by project. It works out about $200 plus the testing, and she basically guarantees to increase your click-through rate. Now, what Matt's done there, like a 70% increase in your click-through rate, roughly will double your business with the Amazon flywheel, etc. If your conversion rate stays the same, and you're driving 70% more clicks with the flywheel, whatever, you've doubled your business. This is the impact that this can have, and why when Danny suggested this podcast, I really wanted to do it, because what other aspect of your business can you make a change so simple and it doubles your business? There isn't one. I mean, there isn't. You could be the best PPC expert in the world, you're not going to be able to get anywhere near those results. And then I think I'd love to. If Sayer's keen, we could definitely look at it. Obviously,
he says I take everything you say seriously, so it's on. So we just got to check whether he wants to do it publicly or privately, and I can't put that on you, Sim. But if we do it publicly, great.
Danny, or, in a niche you can't do anything with, but or grass
How about
seed
that,
or something.
Let us know if that's of interest, and then we'll get that set up for you. Cara, he said he's in. Is that in meaning publicly or privately? So that we can all run, Peter can run tests, and obviously Matt and the guys at ProductPinion, and by that time would have got the update of the pairwise system. But in the meantime, when he while he's waiting for him to come back, Cara, anything you'd like to add? You happy? You've seen a lot of stuff, got a lot of ideas now.
No, it's great. Absolutely fantastic. And what's interesting is just I'm not a data person, you see, really. That's the thing. And so, somebody like me, I'm all about the brand. I'm all about, how the product works and the fact that it does what it says on the tin. Less about like actually all the click-through rates and all the rest of it. So I sometimes wonder how the hell I've got where I've got to, frankly. But no, it's absolutely really, really helpful. Every comment I take on board, and I mean, even my slating of my Canva skills, I take not to heart. No, I mean, honestly, I think the main issue a lot of brand owners have is actually trusting other people to understand your product properly. Especially when it isn't just a garlic press, or something very simple like mine. I mean, originally, Danny, didn't we? We had the whole thing with the fact that it was a stroller cover, and I was like, you can't say stroller cover because that's at the moment that's a rain cover, and I'm not competing with them. So it's just that depth of knowledge, which is really interesting, and I think the feedback from the people who've been polled are absolutely spot on, completely in keeping with what I expect to hear from mums, frankly.
Well, I'll send this to you privately. There's more than just the image. So we've got the pairwise earlier system I'll send to you. We run through comprehension, recognition, and we'll do all the updates on that. We've got all new attributes for the back
and I love
end.
baby in the stroller, because actually I was trying to put a baby in the stroller.
Well, Matt can sort that bit out for you, or we can get Alex.
Yeah, of course. And then also I'll send you the Golden Baby Award.
I love the Golden Baby. I didn't feel like Cupid. I'm inside.
Maybe use it on a secondary image somewhere on the set where you list all the awards. You could have like the Golden Baby Award on there too.
I do know Sai actually for Kidimoto. So yes, I've known him for many years.
All right. So if Sim agrees, have a look at Sim Kidimoto, and then we'll do that one next month. Yeah. All right. We've been going an hour and 10 minutes, so let's sign off. Thank you, guys. Matt, best way that people can reach you.
Yeah, Matt at productpinion.com, or just start a free trial productpinion.com.
Excellent. Sim.
Facebook, LinkedIn, normal places. I getting quite a few messages, which is quite cool. Obviously, people watching and taking it in. So yeah, and based on Kidimoto, my quick search now, no reason we can't do that. So that could be the next one.
All right, we'll get started early on that. I've got a bit more lead time. Peter, thank you for joining us. You're going to join us every month now.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed it.
That's good. Excellent. All right, and best way that people can reach you.
Best way, peterpaul@intellivy.net or LinkedIn, Facebook.
I think it'd be too dangerous to say how'd you get in contact with Cara if you've ever been out and had a drink with her.
I am the only Cara Sayer in the world.
We already met.
Easier.
Yeah. No, a lot of you guys, the list, well, not to say a lot, but a chunk of you guys would have met Cara, and she's my favourite wing woman, but she gets me into trouble sometimes, and then out again. Do you remember that flight with the vaping when it landed and I set off the fire alarm? We'll get Kevin King around to bail me out.
And when I nearly got you arrested in customs for drug smuggling because I asked you to push my suitcase.
I didn't know what was going on there. Look, see, there's one born every minute. All right, guys, lots of love. Take care. I'll see you back here again next week. Take care of yourselves and your family.
Lots of fun. Bye for now.